I see so-called believers fighting other people, some believers, in comment sections where they are saying, oh no, this is not how Christians are supposed to be, this is not how Christians are supposed to dress. Nobody made you Jesus police. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Unscripted. A big shout out to all of our subscribers. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for all of your comments. We really appreciate you all. And yes, today's topic, I am really excited about today's topic. And I'm sure when you get to listen, you also know that yes, you can get one or two things from today's topic. And of course, my name is Oluwafunke Folami, and I'm not here alone. I've got Mr. Dami here, which is our guest. I guess, and my co-host, as usual, Miss Chimoke. Say something now.
I'm doing this is not something. What does this mean?
Peace. Anyway, so today's topic is social media and me. Not me in particular, like believers. So that is what we're talking about today. And Mr. Dami here, he will be like shedding so much light on the questions that we'll be asking him. So Mr. Dami, once again, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, so first of all, before we go into the questions, what's your take on social media in general?
I feel like social media is just a tool. So it's a tool that the user can decide to use in whatever form that they want to. It could be an informative tool, it could be an advertisement tool, it could be an educative tool as well. So it depends on what the user wants to use it for. Personally, I use social media for business and for entertainment basically.
Okay. All right, so let's now dive into the question: social media and believers. So what role does social media play in the life of a believer? Talk about evangelism and fellowshipping and all. What role do you see social media plays?
Well, I feel like social media is actually, for a believer, social media is actually a very good tool. Like I said, it's a tool. Growing up, before we had social media, we were always encouraged to go out to do evangelism, and then you realize that people usually would do evangelism in bus stops, inside buses, and places like that. Now the world has evolved, and obviously we're supposed to evolve with the world. One could use social media as a means of evangelism. I know there are a couple of people that I know that do things like that. They post on their stories, either on WhatsApp, Instagram, they share posts. You can actually share testimonies on social media as well, and with that, you can use that to boost the faith of the next person. So yeah, social media plays a good role in the life of believers when you use it correctly.
When you use it correctly. So what do you mean correctly? Because now everybody feels that what I know, my opinion is correct, your opinion is correct. So my opinion cannot be wrong because you say my opinion is wrong, because I would want to stand. So what is your term correctly to use social media correctly as a believer?
So let me bring it down to the way everyone would understand and relate to it. When I say correctly, if you have your opinion on something, especially when it comes to things that are faith-based, you don't necessarily have to shove it down people. Like, I see so-called believers fighting other people, some believers, in comment sections where they are saying, oh no, this is not how Christians are supposed to be, this is not how Christians are supposed to dress. Nobody made you Jesus police. You understand? You can teach people about Christianity and the way we are supposed to live in a better way rather than shove your opinions in people's faces. Like, I've seen people go very extreme, aggressive with these things, and it really doesn't make sense. Somebody might be a victim of something. For instance, someone could be a victim of rape, and you see someone that clearly, based on this person's page, this person is a believer. Such person will now go there and comment and say something like, oh, it's because of the way she dresses, that's why they rape her. Do you understand what I mean? Everybody on social media feels like they have an opinion, and like you said, everybody feels like their opinion is valid. So that's what I mean by using it correctly. The fact that it is an open space where anybody can say whatever they want doesn't mean you should say anything. without being emotionally intelligent.
I like the fact that you said emotionally intelligent, because everybody does not have it. Everybody does not have it.
Yeah.
So before I go further with my question, do you have any question?
Yeah, I think there's need for us to point out the fact that Mr. Dami here is heavy on social media, so whatever he says is actually the truth. We go to source for people that actually have experience in what they are talking about. He runs a clothing line, right, or an art gallery sort of online, so he knows what he's saying. So when he says that people should do it this way, he's actually not saying it authoritatively as to say you are the final, do you get?
Yeah.
But it's giving us the juice based on the fact that he used social media for his work, like you said earlier, and also for entertainment. So you are actually in for the real deal, honestly.
All right, so we all know that, like you said the world has evolved, things has changed, and now there is online church and stuff like that. And some people say, since there is online church, I can easily stream service from my comfort zone. I don't need to be in church physically. What's the concept around like streaming church online?
I feel like it's a great concept because for me, like we all know, God is omnipresent.
Yeah.
God is everywhere, so you can fellowship. And I feel like even you joining online is still you being in a fellowship with other people. It's just that yours might be like in a remote setting. But just look at how the world has changed. Before 2020, nobody was really keen on doing service online. Now imagine if that option was not available and we are on lockdown. That would mean that people would actually not fellowship for 3 months. So personally, I feel like online service is a good innovation. And if you can't, for so many reasons, some people cannot make it down to the church. One of the reasons could be like, I'm feeling lazy today. Back in the days, when people were feeling lazy on Sundays, they just sleep because there was no online service. Some people would say, oh, Sunday is the only time I have to wash my clothes. I'm not encouraging that. I advise that you should come to church. But if you cannot come to church on a particular Sunday, joining online is actually good. It's better than not even joining service at all. That's what I feel.
So for you, online service is like a go?
Yeah, it is. Okay. Online service is as good as you being in service as well. Because if you are to take it to the other, like the corporate world, in offices, people now hold online meetings.
Yeah.
And it counts as having a normal meeting as well. So it's fellowship basically, where 2 or more are gathered. There are more than 2 people in the online space.
All right. So for the one that I know that people will be really eager to hear your opinion about is social media usage, how you use it, how you control the content that appears on your feed, on your timeline. I know we can and sometimes we cannot control. So in the cases that you can't control some of the content that appears on your timeline, as a believer, in what practical tips or what practical way can you tell a believer that, okay, this content, I don't want to see it, or because I'm seeing it every day? Because for instance now, I hardly listen to songs, but some songs that consciously or unconsciously stick to my brain, there are songs I see on social media, like this Burna Boy song, City Boy. I've not like sat down to listen to the song from start to finish, but I find myself singing it.
Yeah.
So what practical tips or what practical way can you tell a believer like things like that? How do you consciously like say, okay, I don't want to get myself involved in these things?
So social media is an open space, like I said. It's just like you saying you are going out of your house and you're going to walk from your house to the bus stop and you're saying, oh, as I'm going, I don't want to see any woman that is indecently dressed. Or as I'm going, I don't want to listen to anybody insult someone else. Do you understand? You can't control what you see. It's just like when you step out of your house, you cannot say, oh, as I'm going today, I only want to see people dressed like angels. We don't have control over that. But you can control what you take in. The fact that you are seeing it doesn't mean you have to take it in. With social media, there is a way you can control what you see. There's a way, so when you see a post that you don't want to see anymore, there's the option to click, there's an option you click on and says, I don't want to see this post anymore. So they already, there's this thing called algorithm, which is what the social media gives to you. There are ways that you can control it. So with that, you can say, oh, like for me now, I'll give you a practical example. There was a time that on my explore page, I was always seeing partially naked women. It kept on coming, it kept on coming. And one thing that I learned is, if the way this thing works, if you've seen something one time and you spend more than 3 seconds on that post,
yes.
the algorithm feels like you like seeing things like this and they keep bringing it for you. So I've slipped it in there that I once looked at it and they kept on bringing it back. But it was a conscious effort for me to say, you know what, I'm tired of this thing. I don't want to see it anymore, and I clicked on that option to stop it. So just like we're saying, for believers, if you don't want to see it, there are ways you can obviously stop it from coming. And the type of people you follow, the type of posts you engage with is what they will keep bringing to you. So if you only want Christian content, make sure you're only following Christian people or Christian accounts so they can keep giving you that.
Okay.
I concur with what you said. I remember a post on Facebook. I was looking for, it was an online store, and I saw a boot that I really love so much, and I just checked out the boots. And that was it. And I checked their website. I saw that I couldn't afford it. So I just let it slide. The next thing onto Instagram. Then they started giving me something similar.
Yeah.
So I was just like, how come this thing I checked this on Facebook? Why is it coming on Instagram? Then, when I spoke with somebody that's an expert in the field, the person that explained this algorithm thinking to me that because Facebook and Instagram have this kind of synergy,
the same.
so what you see there will be suggested to you on Instagram, or sometimes you will even see that this person is your contact on Facebook, and they will suggest all those things to you.
Yeah.
So the moment you have access such page, they will give you suggestion of something similar to it, and like you rightly said, you can easily just tell them. They will tell you whether to
Interested, not interested.
And even same thing on Facebook. They will tell you whether you want it or not. Facebook will even tell you for 30 days, don't give me such kind of feed, so you can just stop that kind of feed. Then I have a question. Being an entrepreneur, and basically we are seeing the majority of your client base, or our client base, because I have a business too, are gotten from online feeds.
Yeah.
Probably people see your adverts and they'll be like, click on it and you want to see what you're selling, and they'll just contact you. And I can tell from the little time I know your wife is in our unit, and I can see her commitment, and I know you are in another department also in the church, and I've seen your commitment over time in that department. So now, how do you sort that? Because from what we know, if you are an entrepreneur and you have an online presence, you have to be on your toe, posting at intervals and doing, checking, taking orders and the likes. How do you juggle that? Your online presence, your social media presence, and your faith. How are those two not clashing?
My faith and my work doesn't clash because there's a balance.
Okay.
I'm not working every time,
Okay.
and maybe because of the stage that our business.
Oh, sorry, should I say your kingdom work? That's affecting your contribution to the activities in church.
So I get the question. For me, I don't feel like it's a clash because, like I said, there's a balance. Even me, there are times that I'm like, you know what, I don't want to reply any messages for now. I don't want to make any calls for now, and I just want to be alone. Even if the call comes, I would see it. If it's important, I'll go back to it later. There is a need for balance in everything that we do. I can't say, oh, I'm online posting every time. No, the way it works is, even study has shown that there is a time for me to post. So I'm not posting every time. I need to post at the time that I know that our audience are available, they'll be able to see it. You understand? And other than that, there are other ways that you can automate these things. There are apps that I can use to schedule the post. So I don't need to be online every time. I could have automated it and posted it, and that gives me time to do other things. So basically, for me personally, it won't clash because I'm not always there. If I'm, to be honest, if I spend so much time on Instagram, it's not because I'm even doing work. It's because I'm trying to entertain myself. To be honest with you.
Okay, so in the same vein, as an entrepreneur and social media, you want to like jump on trend to like say, okay, because this thing is trending. As an entrepreneur, I want to like sip in my content, my business page to it, so that people can like see me through that trending content. So how do you balance it? How do you say, okay, because this is trending, I do not want to use I don't want to jump on this trend. I want to jump on this trend. How do you identify trends that you don't want to jump on as a believer?
Okay, so our business is a representative or a representation of who we are as individuals. So you can't take me out of my business and you can't take my business out of me at this stage. It might change later. So for trends are good because if you jump on a trend, there is a possibility that your content would go viral and more people will see it and it's drive traffic too. But we don't jump on every trend. There are some trends that don't make sense, which we will not jump on. The only things that we might do is use a trending sound. So such trending sound, and also we don't jump on every. So a trending sound that probably has vulgar languages or people trying to do anything that is not socially acceptable, we won't do that because at the end of the day, if we jump on a trend that says people should swear or expose their bodies or things like that, it doesn't put the business in the right light as well. So such trends we will not jump on. There are some other trends that maybe it might be the transition in the video. So for such trends we can do stuff like that, but we don't jump on all trends. And another thing we've learned is that you can't control what goes viral. I'll give you an example. There were times that we were jumping on almost every trend, using all the trending sounds, but the content won't go viral. But there was a time we did a piece. A customer requested for an artwork, and the day we delivered the piece, I just did a 8 seconds video of where the piece was being made, where it was delivered. I posted it with a sound that wasn't trending at the time, and this post went viral. We had almost 1 million views on this post, and from this post, we got more orders for this particular item. We didn't plan it, which is now where I'm going to bring my Christianity in, because not like I took it away, but I'm just going to say this because some people feel like there is an act to this thing. I believe largely in grace. The grace of God has worked for us as a business in so many places that we didn't know anybody, and for some reason someone would just call and say, oh, is this JB Lagos? Oh yeah, I just stumbled on your page and I want this, and that is it. For most of these things, it always takes somebody to know someone to now introduce you. But for us, time and time again, God has been the person that we know that keyed us into those places. We are not the only ones that use social media, but I don't want to be public about it. There is so much that we have gotten through social media. And we do sponsored ads as well. There are months that we spend as much as $100 on ads and we don't get anything. Randomly, someone can just send a message and go towards the end of our page and say, oh, these items I want. We didn't even advertise this one. So that's where the grace of God comes in. When we say our prayers, we always pray. There's a particular prayer point my wife and I always raise, which is God should advertise us in His own divine way, and He should represent us wherever our names are being mentioned. That prayer cannot be understated, because if you think about the depth to it, people could be mentioning your name somewhere and be like, oh, those ones, don't mind them, everything they said is fake. But in a place where you've already said that God should represent you wherever your name is being mentioned, they would always mention your name for.
And you yourself have done your due diligence by presenting something
that is tangible and of good quality. Yes.
So that's really true. So for social media, you just don't. I like the point that I said, grace of God. Yes, grace of God will surely work out for you if you put God in it. But that doesn't mean that because you've called God, your content will not be low quality. So you have to do your own part, and God will do His own part. So it works.
Yeah.
All right. So so this question will benefit for the new converts. Social media, we can get any information we want on our phone,
Everything.
and there are a lot of things on social media. And so for new converts that see plenty things about faith, what advice would you give them so that they won't get overwhelmed? They are new into Christianity. What advice would you give them so that they won't get overwhelmed with all of the things they are seeing about faith?
So, about faith and new converts, with Christianity, there are different doctrines. This pastor can say, oh, it is okay to do this. Another pastor will say, it's okay to do this. For a new convert, it's a prayer you need to pray throughout your journey, but the prayer you need to pray majorly is the prayer of God blessing you with the spirit of discernment. The spirit of discernment would help you. It's basically you inviting the Holy Spirit into your life to help you in making choices and know what is right for you. Because you could be a strong follower of a particular pastor, and that will mean that anything that pastor says, you would believe. And some pastors might be wrong, but I'm not the one that will come and tell you that this pastor is wrong. That's why I said it's the best if we can also pray for them to have the spirit of discernment, because that spirit just helps you know what is right. As a new convert, everybody will be dishing out advice and say, oh, now that you're a Christian, you shouldn't be listening to secular music. Now that you're a Christian, you shouldn't be doing this. I'll be honest with you, I don't only listen to Christian songs. There are some other songs that are not Christian songs that motivate me. Do you understand what I mean? They are not the secular regular songs. I don't want to mention it, but there are some songs that are just empty. There's no content, there's no message, it's just business. There are some other songs that are not Christian songs, but they would motivate you. So there is a need to balance all of this, like I said earlier. So for new converts, I really recommend that they pray the prayer of
Discernment.
prayer of discernment to just know the right choices to make or not.
All right. So before we wrap it up,
Yeah, I want to also add to new converts to not base their Christian journey solely on social media. You actually, if you are at the early stage of your Christian journey, you really need the presence of a Godhead, so to say, in your life to guide you. Social media is not the next point for you to be looking for ways to advance yourself in the journey of life. Social media is even the last resort, so to say. As much as social media can guide us, we can get some content that will inspire us. It is not the first the first point for us to fill ourselves with the Spirit of God or with the Word of God. The best place to go is the Word of God itself, which is the Bible, and also to have a Godhead, a physical Godhead that can direct you. And like Dami said rightly in Proverbs chapter 2 verse 2, he said, so that thou incline thy ear unto wisdom and apply thy hands unto understanding. If thou criest after knowledge and liftest up thy voice after understanding. What it means literally is you should cry the way you cry for something that you need, the way you cry for something that the way you search and look for something that you need so urgently is the way you should look for the spirit of discernment, because that is the only thing that can put you in the purpose of God and also assist you to do the will of God. And from what he has said so far, you will see that he cannot separate his Christian journey from his business. He cannot separate his faith from his business. He prays for his business and he's seeing the hand of God in his business. So social media is not what gives him inspiration, so to say. He's inspired by God, and the evidence is seen in the way he posts his things and the way he runs his business. So it is just an admonition to us that whether you are the grown adult in Christianhood or you are even starting, you still have the paper evidence of God in your life.
And yeah, so it's a wonderful time with Mr. Dami. Thank you so much for sharing your opinion on that
Thank you
topic.
for having me.
And thank you so much. And I'm sure you've gained one or two things from what he has said or what he has shared. But the question I have for you, which I would love for you to drop your answer in the comment section, is as a believer, how do you balance your faith life and the way you use social media? Would want to know about that. So drop your comments in the comment section. And thank you once again. Do not forget to share, like, and subscribe.
Please
Yes,
subscribe. Subscribe.
it's very important.
It's important.
So, see you next time. Bye.